car is still there. I'm headed back into Hood River because I'm gonna head to the south side of the bridge. There's a homeless encampment there. Though not everybody there picks up the garbage. There's a young man there who is in a wheelchair, and I've seen him twice down there cleaning up. And I don't mean like, picking up a couple pieces of garbage and calling it good. I mean, he was out there with tools working it. So I'm going to the places where the homeless try not to hang out. Mostly the areas that the kids go to when they want to do some drinking or partying. And of course, they're pretty dirty. There was a couple of guys who went and were cleaning up that area when I first got here. It's right along the waterfront. And they told me about the area, but I hadn't actually discovered it till about a week ago. So I guess we'll walk through town, show you some of the flowers maybe. There's quite a few here, different types. Of course, there's trash that blows in. It's all over the place. You just can't get away from it. But all that stuff there, it's obviously trash. Obviously, this is not a homeless encampment. This is the middle of town. I know that you guys want to blame everything on the homeless. I get that. It's easy. Even if people don't believe you, they don't care enough to do anything about it, so who cares, right? I'm wrong. We're still people. So, of course, I hurt like a sumbitch from all this walking. But then again, if nobody does the work don't get done. Obviously, the police are not up to the task and have not been up to the task, or rather are unwilling to perform the task required of them. And of course, I'll argue with anybody on that. There's a lady who wanted to claim that Hood River PD are all good folks because her daddy was an officer. Oh, yay. Well, that totally works. I wonder if the children of Werner... Well, actually, let's go with the children of Miss Brown. The lady who got married to Hitler the day he shot himself in the head. She had kids. Just because their daddy was Hitler doesn't mean that the Nazis didn't do anything terrible. I mean, really, is that going to be your argument? These cops hunt us like we're animals. They kill a black man and you care, unless that black man is homeless. So, although you want to pretend it's a black issue, it's really not. Although you want to pretend it's just a police issue, it's really not. You're the ones looking away. You're the ones looking away when it's happening to the most victimized people in the country. You're the ones looking away while they pass legal precedents against the homeless that are used against all of you. Similar to the United States after the passing of the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment was supposed to free the slaves, wasn't it? But no, that's not what we got. What we got was the homeless being blamed for everything. What we got out of it was chain gangs. What we got was 4 million former slaves who are automatically homeless, and now we're passing laws to make it illegal to be homeless. That's 4 million people who used to be slaves. Oh, goddamn, that's a Colorado vehicle. We'll try not to hold it against them. When it comes to the victims, when I say no victim left behind, I mean it. But you know what? When you choose to look away, you are leaving the victims behind. You are leaving them subject to abuse that you wouldn't like if it happened to you. I can't say that, can I? I can't say, oh, you wouldn't like this happening to you, because then they get to pretend like I'm threatening them. Pretend. Woo! Well, that ain't none too bright. I'm smarter than you. And if I'm not smarter than you, well, you wouldn't have been arguing with me. You'd have been listening. Cute. Anyway, this is the Mountain Hood Railroad. This is the property of the dude who, I don't know if it's all this property, but the ruins is part of this property, so I just avoid the whole goddamn thing. When it comes to who's cleaning up the parking lots and who's cleaning up these areas, it's the homeless. There's a lady I spoke with this morning up there at the parking ride, and I was letting her know I was the one picking up the trash, but nobody was coming to get it. She said, yeah, it used to be nice here, but then they took out the garbage can, and yep. You gotta make sure that homeless people don't have access to that shit. If you deny them access to the garbage can, either A, they have it in their car, and you get to use that to pretend that those pigs want to live in a pigsty because they're mentally ill. But if they try to use a dumpster or a garbage can, you charge them with illegal dumping. How many people who are not homeless have been charged with illegal dumping? You don't want homeless people around your garbage cans. For you. Yours, 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 yours. Well, we all live on the same shitty ass planet. We all buy the same crap wrapped in plastic wrap. And we all gotta dispose of that somewhere. Lots of homeless people have wonderful ideas about what to do with that shit. From personal experience. Like some of the ideas that people have had for roto-molded plastic items. Sure, melting it down and then remelting it and then remelting it into a fucking bottle that you're gonna use once, and then melt it down to another bottle that you're gonna use once, and then melt it down into another bottle that you're only gonna use once. Why don't you turn that into something you're gonna use for a while? You roto-mold it into a houseboat. Well, it's a houseboat. You're not gonna melt it down after one use and turn it into another houseboat for one use, and then melt it down and turn it into another houseboat. Of course, we all know common sense ain't that common, is it? You can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink, right? Yeah. So, of course, we're going to the south end. This route right here, that'll take you to a area where there's some homeless folks who live there. For the most part, they keep it clean. But where are they going to take the trash bags? Where are they going to put that stuff? When they pick up all the trash there, it's not just their trash. Most of it's yours. You may say, oh, it's not my trash. I didn't throw nothing in Hood River, Oregon. Well, the wind blows all over the place. Sure, you might have dropped that last Snickers wrapper at the Wyoming and Nebraska border. So it could be in Wyoming, it could be in Nebraska, but you still threw it down. Nationwide, we got an epidemic of people wanting to blame the homeless and the quote-unquote mentally ill for everything. You know what? You don't have to be mentally ill to fucking snap. When it comes to mentally ill, who's more mentally ill? These sick fuckers who are raping children, or people like me who are actually doing something to put a stop to it? Even here in Hood River, Oregon, most people here in this town would not go to the police if they had a problem. There's been plenty of problems here that should have been situations where the police were notified. But people don't. They lost faith in them already. Well, you guys thought, oh, well, we could do this whole defund the police thing and use that money for projects that actually work. That's not how they played it, is it? They played it as, oh, if we take away all those resources, and if we take away those resources from the police officers, line our own pockets with it, well, that doesn't work for the American people, does it? That's not going into the programs that were proven to work, especially in the late 80s. Just before the police departments nationwide started taking over the battered women's shelters, or safe houses, sorry. Depends on what part of the country you're at, but they're usually called one or the other. But them being ran by the sheriff's departments nationwide, it's similar to like when Boulder took over all the services for homeless that were started by the homeless. We had to bust our ass for permission for those homeless to do those things. And of course, the city council wanted to hand that over, and all of the funding that the homeless people had earned. Homeless people got that funding, not sheriff's department. But what did the sheriff's department do? Well, they were able to finagle it with a bunch of crooked city council members to hand all those over to the sheriff's department. And then the sheriff's department promptly shut them all down and took all of the funding. Now, of course, we know that this is against the law. We know that there are over a dozen laws just inherent in making that statement. There's over a dozen laws that they can be charged with. Then there's the fact that they're not even trying to hide it. How did I end up with most of the evidence I got? It was blatant and fucking open. They slandered me actually in the courtroom. They slandered me actually on pieces of paper that went to those courts. They were blatant about it, knowing that there's evidence to the contrary. Now, what does that say? Why were they able to keep my evidence out of the courtroom? By calling me mentally ill. Meanwhile, did it turn out that I was right? Oh yeah, repeatedly. I was right about Natalie Bollinger. I was right about the heroin. I was right about the meth. I was right about her daddy touching her in ways he shouldn't have. I was right about her cutting on herself, and I was right about her, well, pressuring me to go out there and see her under the threat of fucking suicide. God damn, and you guys think that this is an easy thing. It's an easy thing for us. Us men just have to accept our station in life. We just need to shut up because women are more Really? Women are more victimized, huh? Women, it has been shown time and again, especially since the advent of Facebook and YouTube, women are more likely to be the perpetrators. And that's a sad thing to have to admit to, isn't it? But why is that? It's because our society teaches women that they can blame it on men, make any excuse. The rules for others are different than they are for them. When they have an issue, you're expected to listen to their issue, but they're not going to listen to yours. They're going to change the subject to only about them, only the subjects they want to talk about. Yes, we taught women to manipulate, taught them to do so. We also taught men that it's their fault. If a woman is abused, it's a man's fault. It's a man's fault. It's a man's fault. If a woman is abusive, the man deserves it. The man deserves it. The man deserves it. Well, guess what? It's wrong when they do it to women, and it's equally as wrong to do it to men. Making special rights doesn't make anything better. Nothing at all. We need equal rights. Equal. Now, how is it equal if anybody can victimize a disabled homeless man at any point in time and the rest of the nation will make horrible excuses for it? Like here in Hood River. Oh yeah, I definitely got onto their Facebook and I definitely spoke my piece. And there were people on there, they didn't want to use reason or accountability. They wanted to use name calling and anti-LGBT slogans. And this is on Hood River Police Department's fucking webpage. God, I love the birds here. There's one not far from me. A blue bird that's gray on top. Oh, if my camera will actually let you see those, but yeah, it's a different world entirely. And down here, this is the area where I saw the homeless people picking up yesterday. There was 2 of them, and they did a pretty good job. I mean, you know, there was a bunch of people out here with chairs and doing their drinking and all that, and of course people wanted to, you see all these tramp trails, that's because people were, they were wanting to get drunk and get closer to the action and get further back into the woods, and of course pee in the bushes and poop in the bushes. And the homeless people, they stopped cleaning right about here. This is all, see, they even got underneath the trees, and they did that twice actually. Also over here, there was even some trash, like there was a half-empty plastic bag that was there, and it was covered, it'd been there a while, and then when they lifted it up, it just dumped all that off. Now this part right here, this stick right here is where the line of demarcation, because there we've got what? Trash immediately. Got some more trash back there. More trash right there. I mean, it's definitely a shit pit. And then, of course, we get to this part here, and there's just all sorts of a mess. We'll show you what we got here. People's alcohol stuff, plastic bags, trash bag, more bottles and cans, and of course, a big old pile of cement. Obviously, the cement was not brought here by homeless people. The rest of it, sure, we can blame it on homeless people. This is actually where high school kids come back to get all fucked up, as I hear it. But most of these homeless folks, they're going to go drinking at their camps. They're going to go drinking with their friends, unless they're trying to save the bottle. If they're trying to save a bottle for themselves so they can get well in the morning, that means that they want to have a little bit of alcohol left for in the morning so they don't have a seizure and die. For a lot of you guys, you know your family members on the street. You say, oh, well, they're mentally ill. We can't help them. Well, of course you can't help them. You can't even listen to them. If you can't hear them, how are you going to help them? All right, what the hell is that? Is that a crack pipe? No. That's just a chunk of metal with a slug on it. All right. Anyway, the moral of the story here is that you guys want to blame everything on the homeless, but the homeless are doing more than anyone to clean this shit up. Disabled homeless people, the ones who are the easiest ones to victimize. And why do we work so hard to make that happen? Because any excuse that you can make to victimize us, you'll use. So we pick up all of the garbage from everybody else so we don't get littering tickets for picking it up. Then again, we end up with situations like that situation with Zaid Atkinson and with James there in Boulder. One of them was a black man in a house. One of them was a white man on the streets. Both of them pick up garbage with a bucket and one of them grabbers. The homeless man, however, is the one who got a littering ticket. That's right, a littering ticket for picking up garbage. Insanity. You say it's wrong for me to stand up for my rights, but you hail Zaid Atkinson as a hero for standing up for his, but then again he sold a racist narrative knowing that it was wrong. So as much as I have to admit that he is a victim, I also have to claim, as is true based on his actions and based on the evidence inherent, he's a racist, and I will not tolerate racism. Good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and no victim left behind.